The waitress and the silent man. The sheriff's hand came down hard, not a punch. A slap, open palm across the face of a woman half his size. The diner went silent. Forks stopped moving. Coffee cups hung in the air. No one breathed. The waitress stood. Frozen, one hand on her reddening cheek, the other still holding a dish rag. Her name tag said Linda. She was 50-something. Thin, tired eyes. The kind of woman who'd worked every shift her whole life and never complained once. The sheriff didn't even look sorry. He was a big man, thick neck, uniform stretched tight over his gut. Badge on his chest like a shield he thought made him untouchable. He pointed one fat finger in her face. "You don't talk back to me," he said. "Not here. Not anywhere." Linda's lips trembled, but she didn't cry. She just stood there. Small, humiliated. No one moved. Not the couple in the corner booth. Not the teenager bussing tables. Not the cook watching through the kitchen window. No one. Except the old man at the counter. He didn't stand up. Didn't raise his voice. He just set his coffee cup down. Slowly. The ceramic made a soft click against the saucer. Then he looked at the sheriff. That was all. Just looked. The old man was 70, maybe older. Gray stubble on his jaw. Flannel shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. Hands rough and scarred like he'd spent a lifetime working with them. He was thin, not frail. Just worn down the way old tools get worn down. He'd been sitting there for an hour, same spot by the register, not bothering anyone. Didn't talk much. Didn't smile. Just drank his coffee and minded his business. Linda had refilled his cup 3 times without him asking. The sheriff turned toward him now, still riding the high of his own authority. "You got a problem, old man." The old man didn't answer right away. He looked at Linda first, then back at the sheriff. "I think you should apologize," he said. His voice was quiet, calm, no anger in it. "Just fact." The sheriff laughed. It was ugly, mean. "You think I should apologize?" He stepped closer, boots heavy on the linoleum. "You know who I am?" "I know what you are," the old man said. That wiped the smile off the sheriff's face. "The hell did you just say to me?" The old man didn't repeat himself. Didn't need to. He just sat there, hands resting on the counter, eyes steady. The sheriff's face went red. He wasn't used to this. People around here knew better. They knew to keep their heads down. This was his county, his rules. "You got about 5 seconds to mind your own business before I make this your problem," the sheriff said. The old man took a sip of his coffee. Slow. Didn. Single quotes. Break eye contact. The sheriff's jaw tightened. He glanced around the diner, looking for backup, looking for someone to agree with him. But everyone was staring at their plates now. No one wanted to be next. He turned back to the old man. "You a tough guy? That it?" "No," the old man said. "Just don't like watching men hit women." The sheriff's hand moved to his belt, not to his gun, to his cuffs. "All right. You just bought yourself a night in my jail." The old man didn't resist, didn't argue. He just slid off the stool, slowly, like his knees hurt. Like standing up took effort. Linda finally spoke. "Wait," her voice cracked. "He didn't do anything." The sheriff ignored her. He grabbed the old man's arm, rough, yanking him toward the door. That's when the old man moved. Not fast, not violent. Just. Precise. One hand came up, twisted. The sheriff's grip broke like it was nothing. The old man stepped to the side, and suddenly the sheriff was off balance, stumbling forward into the counter. It happened so quick, no one was sure what they saw. The sheriff spun around, furious now, and reached for his gun. "Don't," the old man said. It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. Something in his voice made the sheriff stop. Something cold. Something that said this wasn't the first time. Someone had pointed a weapon at this man. The diner stayed quiet. Then the door opened. A state trooper walked in. Young guy, crisp uniform. He looked at the scene sheriff, red-faced and angry. Old man standing calm. Whole diner watching like a held breath. "Everything all right here?" the trooper asked. "Stay out of this, Mason," the sheriff snapped. "County business." But the trooper didn't leave. His eyes moved to the old man. Then to Linda, who still had a red mark on her face. "Ma'am," the trooper said gently, "you all right?" Linda hesitated, looked at the sheriff, then nodded. "He hit her," someone said from the back booth. The sheriff's head whipped around. "Who said that?" No one answered. The trooper stepped further. Inside. His hand rested on his own belt now, not aggressive. "Just ready, Sheriff," he said carefully. "Maybe we should talk outside." I said stay out of it. "Can't do that." The tension pulled tighter. The old man still hadn't moved. He just stood there, watching, waiting. Got the trooper look at him again. Really looked this time. His eyes narrowed, like he was trying to place a face. "Do I know you?" the trooper asked. The old man shook his head. "Don't think so. You from around here?" "Passing through." The trooper kept staring. Then his eyes dropped to the old man's forearm, to a faded tattoo mostly hidden under the rolled sleeve. An eagle, an anchor, a trident. The trooper went still. "You Navy?" he asked. The old man didn't answer. The trooper's voice changed, softer now, almost reverent. "SEAL?" Still no answer. But the silence said enough. The sheriff laughed again, but it sounded hollow now. "Oh, here we go. Stolen valor. This old man trying to impress you?" The trooper didn't laugh. He didn't even look at the sheriff. "What's your name, sir?" he asked the old man. The old man hesitated, then said it, quiet, like it didn't matter. "Harlan Briggs." The trooper's face went pale. He actually took a step back. "The Harlan Briggs?" The old man said nothing. "You're..." The trooper stopped, swallowed. "You're the guy from Ramadi. The building, the hostages." The old man's jaw tightened. "That was a long time ago. You saved 14 people," the trooper said. "Went in alone. They gave you..." "I know what they gave me," the old man said quietly. The diner was dead silent now. The sheriff looked confused, angry, off balance. "I don't care who he says he is," the sheriff started. "He interfered. He's telling the truth," the trooper said. He wasn't looking at the sheriff. He was still looking at Harlan like he'd just seen a ghost. "I saw his photo in the academy. They used your op as a case study." Harlan said nothing. The trooper straightened up, cleared his throat. "Sir," he said, "with respect, you shouldn't be here. Not for this." "I was drinking coffee," Harlan said. "I mean," the trooper struggled for words. "You shouldn't have to deal with this." Harlan looked at Linda, then back at the trooper. "Someone had to," he said. The sheriff was losing control of the room, and he knew it. "This is my county," he said, voice rising. "I don't care what he did 40 years ago. He doesn't get to disrespect me in front of..." "You hit a waitress," Harlan said. It wasn't loud, but it cut through everything. "That's a lie," I watched. "You do it," Harlan said. "So did I," someone said from the corner. "Me too," said another voice. "And me." One by one, quiet, steady, the whole diner. The sheriff's face went from red to white. The trooper stepped between them now, calm, professional. "Sheriff," he said, "I think you should leave." "You can't." "I think you should leave," the trooper repeated, "before this gets worse." For a long moment, the sheriff just stood there, fists clenched, breathing hard. Then he turned and walked out. The door swung shut behind him. No one spoke. The trooper turned to Harlan. "Sir, I'm sorry you had to..." "Don't," Harlan said. He sat back down at the counter, picked up his coffee cup. "I'm just here for breakfast." The trooper nodded, slowly. He looked like he wanted to say more, maybe ask questions, maybe shake his hand, but he didn't. He just nodded again and left. The diner stayed quiet for another moment. Then Linda walked over. Her hand was shaking as she poured more coffee into Harlan's cup. "Thank you," she whispered. Harlan didn't look up. "You don't owe me anything," he said. "Still," she said. "Thank you." He nodded. Once she walked away. Slowly the diner came back to life. Forks moved. Conversation started again. Quiet at first, then normal. Harlan sat there and drank his coffee alone. The same as before. He finished his coffee just as the sun started climbing higher through the diner windows. Linda brought him his check. Set it down softly, like she was afraid of disturbing him. "It's on the house," she said. Harlan shook his head, pulled a 20 from his wallet, and set it on the counter. "Keep it," he said. "That's too much, keep it." She looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes were wet, but she didn't cry. She just nodded and took the bill. Harlan stood up. His knees cracked. He stretched his back slowly, like an old dog getting up from a nap. The teenager who'd been bussing tables was standing near the register now, staring. He couldn't have been more than 17. Skinny kid with acne and a name tag that said Tyler. "Is it true?" the kid asked. Harlan looked at him. "What they said about you?" Harlan didn't answer. He just buttoned his flannel shirt at the wrists and started toward the door. "Wait," the kid followed him a few steps. "Did you really go into a building alone? Against a whole enemy unit?" Harlan stopped. He didn't turn around. "It wasn't like the movies," he said quietly. "But you did it?" Harlan was silent for a moment. Then he said, "I did what I was trained to do." "That's so cool." "It wasn't cool," Harlan said. His voice was still calm. "But there was something underneath now. Something hard. It was loud. And it smelled like burning plastic. And I was scared the whole time." The kid went quiet. Harlan turned to look at him now. "You thinking about enlisting?" he asked. The kid nodded. "Maybe, I don't know. My dad wants me to go to college, but..." "Go to college," Harlan said. "But you..." "I'm 73 years old," Harlan said. "I got 2 fake knees, hearing aids I don't wear. And I wake up at 3 in the morning because my brain won't stop replaying things I can't change." He paused. "If you go in for the right reasons. Not because you think it'll make you a hero." The kid nodded slowly. Harlan's expression softened just a little. "But if you do go," he said, "serve with honor. Take care of the people next to you. That's all that matters." He pushed open the door and stepped outside. The morning air was cool, clean. The parking lot was empty except for his truck, a beat-up Ford Ranger with rust on the wheel wells and a dent in the tailgate. He walked toward it slowly. Behind him, the diner door opened again. The state trooper was standing there. "Mr. Briggs," he called out. Harlan stopped, turned. The trooper walked over. He looked nervous, like he was meeting someone famous. "I just wanted to say..." He stopped, started again. "What you did in there, standing up for her, that took guts." Harlan shook his head. "Didn't take guts. Just took being awake." The trooper smiled a little. Then his face got serious again. "The sheriff," he said. "He's going to be a problem. He's got friends. The whole county's been looking the other way." "For years. Not my county," Harlan said. "I know, but still." The trooper hesitated. "People saw what happened today. Word's going to spread. He won't like that." Harlan looked at him. "You worried about me or about him?" he asked. The trooper blinked. "You, sir." Harlan almost smiled, almost. "I've been worried about before," he said. "I'll manage." The trooper nodded. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a business card. "If anything happens," he said, "call me, please." Harlan took the card, looked at it, then slid it into his shirt pocket. "Appreciate it," he said. The trooper stood there a moment longer. Then he straightened up and offered his hand. Harlan shook it. "It's an honor, sir," the trooper said. "Really?" Harlan nodded. Said nothing. The trooper walked back to his patrol car. Harlan got into his truck. The engine coughed twice before it turned over. The radio crackled on some old country station, playing a song he didn't recognize. He turned it off. He sat there for a moment, hands on the wheel, staring out at the road ahead. Through the diner window, he could see Linda. She was pouring coffee for someone new, smiling a little. Back to work. Harlan put the truck in gear and pulled out of the parking lot. He drove slow. No hurry. The road stretched out in front of him, long and empty. Trees on both sides. Sky wide and blue. He didn't think about the sheriff. Didn't single quotes to think about the trooper or the kid, or the people who'd watched him from their booths. He thought about Linda, about the way she'd stood there, silent, taking it, because she'd been taking it her whole life. And nobody'd stopped it. Until today. He thought about the building in Ramadi, the smell of burning plastic. The sound of his own breathing inside the helmet, the way his hands shook after it was over. They'd given him a medal for that. Parade, ceremony, speeches about courage and sacrifice. But the only thing he remembered clearly was the face of a little girl. She'd been hiding under a table. Couldn't have been more than 6. She didn't speak English and he didn't speak Arabic. But when he lifted her up and carried her out, she'd grabbed onto his neck so tight he couldn't breathe. He remembered that grip. He remembered thinking, "I hope she forgets this day," but he never did. Harlan turned onto the highway. The truck rattled. A little at 55, but it held steady. He didn't know where he was going. Hadn't known for years. After the Navy, he'd tried to settle down. Bought a house, got married. Tried to be normal, but normal didn't fit anymore. His wife left after 8 years. Said she felt like she was living with a stranger. Said he never talked. Never let her in. She wasn't wrong. He sold the house. Bought the truck. Started driving. That was 11 years ago. He'd seen a lot of the country since then. Worked odd jobs, roofing, landscaping, dishwashing, anything that paid cash and didn't ask questions. He didn't need much, just the road. And the quiet, but every now and then, something would happen. Like today. And he'd remember what he used to be. Not a hero, just a man who'd been trained to stand when others ran. The highway curved through a stretch of farmland. Cows grazing in the distance. A barn with faded paint. Harlan's phone buzzed. He didn't have many people who called him. Mostly just spam. He almost ignored it, but something made him check. It was a text from a number he didn't recognize. "This is Linda from the diner. Tyler gave me your number. I just wanted to say thank you again. And I'm sorry you got dragged into that. You didn't have to do what you did. But I'm glad you were there." Harlan stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed back, slow, one finger at a time. "You don't need to thank me. Take care of yourself." He sent it. Set the phone down. A few minutes later, it buzzed again. "You too." He didn't reply, just kept driving. The sun was higher now. Warm through the windshield. He thought about stopping for gas soon. Maybe food. But not yet. For now. He just wanted to drive. And let the miles put distance between him and everything behind him, the way he always did, the way he always would. The old man and his truck disappeared over the hill. The road stretched on. Empty. Quiet. The way he liked it.